My dear students, I welcome you to online English classes. In previous class, we revised all the three poems from your book Beehive. Today we revised Beehive chapters. Chapter 1, The Fun They Had. Chapter 2, Sound of Music First and Second. Chapter 3, The Little Girl. And Chapter 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. And Chapter 5, My Childhood. We revised just as a summary. Let's continue our class. The Fun They Had, written by Isaac Asimov. This chapter is about Margie. Margie even wrote about the book in her diary on the page headed 17th May 2157. She wrote, "Today's Tommy found a real book." It was a very old book, and Margie's grandfather once says that when he was little boy, his grandfather told him about a time when all stories were printed on paper. They turned the pages, they were wrinkled and yellow. The words stood still. They did not move on the screen as they do now. After then, Tommy called it a vest. When they read the book, they threw it away. The television screen must have been very big to have many books. It was still good for many more books. It was same for Margie, though she had not seen any telebook. Margie was 11 and Tom was 13. She asked him where she had found that book. He replied that he found that in his house. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more. It was because her mechanical teacher had given her test after test in geography. She had been doing worse and worse. Her mother sent for the county inspector. The county inspector was a round little man. He had a red face and a box of tools, dial and wires. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. He took the television teacher away. Margie hoped he couldn't know how to set it right. But after 1 hour, it was again before her with its big screen. She hated its slot in which she had to put her homework. The inspector smiled and patted Margie's head. Then after, Margie hoped that they would take her mechanical teacher away. They had done so Tommy for nearly a month. The history sector of Tommy's had blanked out. Margie said to Tommy why anyone would write about school. Tommy told that it was not their kind of school. That was a kind of old school which they had there hundred of years ago. Margie was not prepared to dispute that she would not want a strange man to live in her house and teaches her. Tommy told Margie that the teacher did not live in the house as the mechanical teacher lived. They had a special building. All the kids went there and they learned the same thing, and they were of the same age group. But Margie's mother said that as per mother, a teacher had to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it taught. Margie's mother, Mrs. Jones, called that it was time for her school. Margie asked Tommy if she could read the book some more with him after school. Margie put her work in a slot with a sigh. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen the fraction of the question. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved the school in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. Now comes to second chapter, Sound of Music. The sound of music is about the little girl Evelyn. Rush hour crowd pushed for place on the underground train platform. A little girl of about 17 was nervous for the coming train. It was very first day at the famous Royal Academy of Music in London. She was deaf, so she was facing a bigger challenge in life. Evelyn Glennie was from Scotland. She lost her hearing gradually. Her mother saw it when Evelyn was 8 years old. By 11, her marks list. The headmistress told her mother to take her to a specialist. It was known that her hearing loss was due to gradual nerve damage. He was advised to wear a hearing aid. But Evelyn was determined to lead a normal life. She wanted to pursue her interest in music. One day she saw a girl playing xylophone. She too decided to play it. Ron Forbes recognized Evelyn's talent in it. Evelyn said suddenly that she could feel the higher and lower drum differently. She could also sense certain notes in different parts of her body. She would open her mind and body to different sound. Then after, she never looked back. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra. She had decided to make music her life. She is not proud of her achievement. She says that if one knows one's goal, one can get it. She is now at the top. She is the world's most wanted multi-percussionist. She was mastery over 1,000 instruments. Without hearing, she functions with ease. She speaks fluently with the Scottish. She learned French and mastered basic Japan. She says that music pours in through every part of the body. At times, she plays the xylophone. She can sense the sound passing in her fingertips. In 1991, she was awarded the Soloist of the Year award. It is the most famous award of the Royal Philharmonic Society. Master percussionist James Blades says that God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her something extraordinary. Evelyn says that she is a workaholic. Evelyn has brought percussionists to the front of the orchestra. She is an inspiration to the handicapped. She has given great pleasure to millions. Now comes to Bismillah Khan, Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Here two parts in Sound of Music. First is Evelyn Glennie and second is Bismillah Khan. In one chapter there is two parts. Here the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. The Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of the pungi in the palace. The reason was that it had a sharp and unpleasant sound. A barber thought it to remove it. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow. It had 7 holes on its body. He played on its closing and opening some of these holes. It produced a sweet sound. He played it before the royalty. It needed a name, so it was named after the player. He was a Nai, that is Babur. It was the first played in the Shaha chambers. Then, after the sound of the Sehnai was considered auspicious, Ustad Bismillah Khan has brought it on the classical stage. As a 5 years old, Bismillah Khan played a gilli danda near a pond in Damrau in Bihar. He would go to the nearby Bihariji temple. At the end, he would earn a big laddu weighted 1.25 kg. It was on the behalf of the local Maharaj this happened 80 years ago. Bismillah Khan was born on 21st March 1916 in a family of the musician in Bihar. His grandfather Rasul Baksh Khan was a Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur King's Court. His father Pagambar Baksh and the other ancestors were the great Shehnai player. The young Bismillah Khan took a musical early in life. He was attracted toward his uncle's practice, the Shehnai. Soon he started going with the uncle Ali Baksh to the Vishnu temple in Varanasi to play the Shehnai. For years, the temple of Balaji and Mangla Maya and the bank of Ganga became the places where he could practice. The flowing water of the Ganga inspired him to the event Rags. They inspired from the Ganga and prevent Rags. After the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference, the opening of All India Radio in Lucknow. In 1938, became a big break for him. He became a Shehnai player on radio. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with the Shehnai on August 15, 1947. He played Rag Kafi from Red Fort to people like Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan. Film director Vijay Bhatt was greatly impressed. He named his film Gunj Uthi Shehnai after the instrument. The film was hit and his composition Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya became a record breaker. Bismillah Khan music in film did not go beyond Vijay Bhatt's Gunj Uthi Shehnai. After that, award came in plenty for him. He became the first Indian to perform a Lincoln Concert Hall in the USA. He took part in the World Festival Osaka Trader Fair. An auditorium in Tehran was named after him. Tehran Tahir Mosque Ustad Bismillah Khan. That name, an auditorium in Tehran was named. That means that Tehran name is Tahir Mosque Ustad Bismillah Khan. That was the national award like the Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Bhushan were confirmed on it. In 2001, he was awarded Indian highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. At this, he said, "Teach your children music. This is the Hindustan richest tradition." Ustad Bismillah Khan is the perfect explain of the rich culture heritage of India. It accepts that the Muslim like him can play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Now come to little girl. What is the story about the little girl? You know very well. In this chapter, Kezia's father was a figure of fear for her. She avoided him. Before going to work, she would come to her and he would give her a casual kiss. But when he went, Kezia would feel a great relief. In the evening, Kezia's father come home. Kezia would hear his loud voice calling for tea. She would stutter due to fear. She, in fact, would try to speak, but she would hesitate due to fear. For Kezia, her father was like a giant. On a Sunday afternoon, grandmother asked Kezia to have a nice talk with father and mother. But Kezia always found mother reading and father snoring. So she wanted for father. She continued staring at father. She waited till he woke. When he actually awoke, she asked her not to stare. She looked like an owl. She suggested one day Kezia's grandmother told her that her father's birthday was next week, and she suggested to Kezia to make him a pincushion of a yellow silk. So Kezia made a pincushion for father. So he gathered a few sheets of fine paper and put them into it. This sheet belonging to her father. They had an important speech which he was deliver. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the Port Authority has been lost. Rooms were searched, servants were questioned. Father went to Kezia's room. He asked her about them. Kezia did not tell a lie. She told him that she had torn those papers. Father asked Kezia to come to the drawing room. He was very angry. After then, father asked mother to go to Kezia's room and fetch them those torn paper. Meanwhile, he asked Kezia to hold out her hand, and he beat her on her hand. He did so to teach her not to touch anything that didn't belong to her. After then, Kezia was bitten on her hand. Hours later, her grandmother had wrapped Kezia in a shawl. She slung her when he was being rocked in the rocking chair. She sobbed, "What did God make father for?" The MacDonald lived in the next door to Kezia's house. They had 5 children. Father played with the children, and Kezia thought there was a different father. One day, Kezia's mother fell ill. She had to be hospitalized. Kezia's grandmother was with her. Kezia was all alone with Alice, the cook. Kezia was Alice. What would happen if she had a nightmare? But Alice asked her to sleep. But Kezia had a nightmare. She saw a butcher with a knife and a rope. He came near Kezia, but she couldn't move. She screamed and woke up father. And father came to her bed. He asked her what was the matter. After hearing her, he took Kezia with him. Kezia's father lay down beside her. Kezia crept close to him. He asked Kezia to rub her feet against his legs to get them warm. But Kezia felt a funny thing. She thought that her father was harder than grandmother. But it was nice hardness. Every day she had to work harder. He got too tired to be a Mr. MacDonald, and she had torn up his writing. She stayed. Father asked what was the matter. Kezia told him that her head was on his heart. She told him that she had a big heart. It was beating. After then, he loved his father. Now comes to chapter 4, that is a truly beautiful mind. As you know, the chapter is about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879 in a Germany city of Ulm. And he had no sign of greatness. His mother thought that it was a freak. When he learned to speak, he spoke everything twice, and he was boring for her children, for other children. So he played by him much of the time. He loved mechanical toys. Look at him, newborn sister Maza. He asked where her wheels were. The headmaster told his father that Einstein would never make a success at anything. He began playing at the age of 6. Later, he became a gifted violinist. But he was not a bad pupil. He joined a high school in Munich and he scored good marks in every subject. He clashed with the teacher and he didn't strict discipline in order to school. And he left school for good at the age of 15. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics. He was interested in physics also. He decided to study at Zurich University of Zurich. At the age of 21, Albert got his university degree. He became a technical expert in the patent office in Berlin in 1920. He was actually developing his own idea in secret, and he called his desk as the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. He had a special interest in the fellow students. Her name was Mileva Maric, and she was a clever creature. The university in the Zurich was one of the few universities in Europe where women could get degrees. Only in that university women can get the degrees. Therefore, she had come to Switzerland. After then, the couple fell in love. Their love was expressed in science. One of the famous papers in 1905, Einstein's special theory of relativity. According to it, time and distance are not absolute. Einstein was solving the most difficult problem in physics. His private life was starting to fail. He wanted to marry Mileva, but his mother was against it. The pair finally married in 1903 January. They had 2 sons, but a few years later the marriage failed. The couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. Einstein's new chapter brought him world fame. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity. An eclipse of the sun in 1990 proved its accuracy. He received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. The Nazis came to the power in Germany in 1933. After then, Einstein emigrated the United States. 5 years later, nuclear fusions were discovered by the Nazis in Berlin. It upset the American physicists. Einstein wrote a letter to the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on August 2, 1939. The Americans developed the atomic bomb in secret. They dropped it into Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of destruction. This time he wrote a public letter to United Nations. In it he promised the formation of the world government. He wanted to bring an end to the arms buildup, and he worked for the peace and democracy. Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, and he was celebrated as a visionary and a world citizen. Now comes to my childhood. Chapter 5, The Snake and the Mirror, that was omitted chapter. As you know that was omitted chapter. Now comes to my childhood. This chapter is about APJ Abdul Kalam's. The lesson tells us about the Professor Abdul Kalam's childhood. He is one of the world's greatest scientists. His father's name was Jalaluddin. His mother's name was Asiyama. He was born in 1931 at Rameshwaram. His parents were neither much educated nor rich, yet they were very generous and kind. Many outsiders ate with the family every day. Then, after Abdul Kalam had three brothers and one sister, and they lived in a large Pakka house. It was on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. Abdul Kalam was only 8 years old when the Second World War broke out in 1939. Abdul would collect their sheets and sell them in the market. His cousin Samsuddin distributed newspaper, and he employed Abdul Kalam as a helping hand. And he got the first wages. Abdul Kalam's parents highly influenced him. Some of his friends and teachers also influenced him. The new teacher could not tolerate the Hindu priest's son sitting with the Muslim boy. He asked Abdul to sit on the back bench. He was very sad, and so Ramananda Shastri, Abdul found Shastri weeping as he went to the last row. This made a lasting impression on Abdul. He asked him not to spread the poison of social separation among the children. The teacher felt sorry for the same. Abdul's science teacher Siva Subramania Iyer was a high caste Brahmin. His wife was very conservative. His wife refused to serve Abdul in her kitchen. Then Siva Subramaniam served Abdul with his own hand. He sat down beside him and ate his meal. The teacher invited Abdul to come again the next weekend. He went to his house next week. His wife took Abdul inside her kitchen. She served him food with her own hand. From his father, Abdul inherited honesty and self-discipline. Abdul grew up. He asked a father permission to study at Ramananthapuram. After then, his father allowed him to do so. He consoled his wife, who had grown emotional. Abdul Kalam's father refers to Khalil Gibran, the Persian philosopher. He told her that her children were not hers. They were the son of daughter of life long for itself. They came through her, not from her. She might give them her love, but their thought were theirs. See, in this way, we completed all the 5 chapters from your Beehive chapter, Beehive book, as a revision. In the next class, we revised moment. Till then, goodbye.